For today's project, we're going to be doing a little experimenting. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I hope that you'll enjoy what we're working on, which is going to be some gilded jelly printed paper. What we're going to use for this project is some, of course, jelly printed papers, which I'm working on right now. And then we're going to use some texture paste and some gilding adhesive and some gold leaf, and hopefully get some really exciting results. So I wanted to just give a little shout out to Donna, who gifted me this Baron that she sent me, and I am just so thankful that she sent this to me and appreciative. And Donna, I just want to say thank you so much. She handmade this, and look at that. It's a furniture pad, and you put cabinet pulls or drawer pulls on there, and it is so smooth and wonderful to use on your jelly plate. I just have been loving it ever since. So thank you so much, Donna. I have been using the heck out of it. I appreciate it. So the color that I'm using for the background is Dolphin Gray, and it's just a ceramic coat by Delta. And I'm going to do a couple of them, and I'm doing this on some heavier paper than I normally use. It's not just copy paper. I don't know the GSM of it. I just kind of found it in my drawer, and I thought it would be nice, but it kind of feels like brochure weight paper. And it's just a little bit heavier, and hopefully that'll be able to take the texture paste and the gold leaf that I'm going to be putting on there. So I'm just putting this on for a second time because I didn't like originally when your brayer rolls over something, it makes lines, and I really didn't like that. So this is a little bit of a darker cover, a more opaque cover. And then I'm just going to do one more, because in the event that I decide to make a journal out of this, then I'll have a back page as well, already in the same color. So I'm just going to do one more. I switched rollers, brayers, just to see if I like this one a little bit better, and it seems to be working a little better. I'm kind of a heavy-handed on my brayer, and so I don't like that it makes rolls and stuff, little track marks in there. I don't know. Do you guys have an issue with that? It drives me a little bit insane. I do love the way that Baron works, though. It comes out so nice. It really pushes your paper into the jelly plate to get the paint on there. I like the way that one turned out a little bit better, so. Now we're going to move into the texture paste. And so this is Ranger texture paste, and then I have my palette knife. And then I have a couple of stencils here. This is a Lavinia stencil, and I did cut the side borders off of that because the way I was using it before, I was putting two on a piece of paper, and I didn't want to see those edges. So yours probably doesn't look like this, but mine does. So I'm just going to lay the stencil on the jelly printed piece of paper, and I'm going to get some washi tape here, and then I'm just going to washi tape that down so it will be still for me and it won't move while I'm trying to put the texture paste on. I'm going to tape down the piece of paper so it doesn't move, and then I'm also going to tape down the stencil. This has such a narrow border on it, it's a little harder to grab that, but it'll hold it down. Can't seem to get my washi tape off of itself to get it on the paper. Now that we have accomplished that, we should be good. So this is the other stencil that I pulled that I want to use on my next print. I'm just going to clean up and get a few things out of the way here. This texture paste is really light and fluffy and really easy to work with. And I'm just taking some and getting it on my palette knife and scraping it across the stencil. It's going to take a little bit to get the whole stencil covered. Just keep going back over it and trying to get a smooth, even layer. Make sure I'm getting the texture paste down into the ridges of the stencil. This is such an intricate stencil. I hope that it works well for this project. If not, then I'll know better next time, I guess, right? So this is another Lavinia stencil, and I really love this pattern. Like I said before, I will link those in the description box so that you can find those. This one is so pretty. This one is pretty intricate, and so I'm having to really push to get the texture paste down into the pattern. The openings are really small. So once this is dry, I'm going to take off my stencil, go clean that off, and then let this texture paste dry. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to paint the white of the stencil texture paste. Because if you go ahead and you put the gilding adhesive on now, then what you're going to see is the white underneath it, like on the sides, because of the height of the texture paste. So you want to make sure and paint it at this point. Or you also have the option of putting in some color into the texture paste, which I did not do. I wasn't quite sure how to do that. I just need to look up the instructions and see what my ratios are and such. But I thought I would just go ahead and add the texture paste and then paint on top of it. So while that one is drying, I'm going to bring out the gray one again. I'm going to place the stencil back on top of the area that I texture pasted and tape it down. And then I'm going to make sure that it's all in there really good, exactly where it needs to be. And I'm going to take the gilding adhesive and I'm just going to spread it over. That way I don't have to think about where the gilding adhesive needs to go, or I don't have to take a really small brush and take a really long time to hit the high parts of where I want to actually add the gold leaf. So adding the stencil back helps you spread the adhesive faster, I guess. Hindsight, I've put too much adhesive on here, but I didn't know it at the time. But it still turns out okay. Now, I already put the gilding adhesive on this piece of paper. And if you can see that little dot right there, when I pulled the stencil up, the adhesive kind of stuck to the paper and pulled that up. So I just wanted to show you really quickly how easy it is to fix something like that. I just put a little paint on there and it fixed it right up. So it says for this to sit for a little while, and I am going to put that to the side and we're going to move on to the gray. So here we are back at the gray, and the adhesive is set up nicely. And I'm just going to add the gold leaf. Gloves come with the gilding adhesive, so you can use that. And my second piece of gold leaf went on much better than the first. I think it's imperative that you leave it attached to that separator paper. That's what made the difference truly. I'm just taking the excess from the left side and putting it over on the right where I didn't quite get it down straight. And then there's some little edges around that need a little bit. And so I'm just pulling from there the parts that aren't stuck down to the adhesive already. I use two brushes. I have one big fluffy brush that I use, and I usually start with that one and gently press that into the foil and into the adhesive. And then I just kind of go in circular motions once I get everything pressed in. And then the design starts coming out. Isn't that beautiful? This is the second brush that I use, and it is a more firm bristle brush, and it kind of gets into the nooks and crannies. And sometimes if there's some stubborn pieces on there that won't come off with a soft bristle brush, then you can use that. And the more you brush, the more excess gold leaf comes off, and the more pattern comes out. So now we're back to the blue. And that one has set up as well, and we're going to do the same thing to that one. I have a little more success with this one than I did the last one as far as the gold leaf is concerned. I just take it and leave that separator page on there, and that works out so much nicer. I didn't strategically choose stencils that were the width of the gold leaf, but that would have been a good idea. But it doesn't really matter if you have excess or if you need to put an additional one down either, because you get such a good amount in the packs. Now I'm just taking and tamping that fluffy brush into the gold leaf to press it into the adhesive, just like we did on the last one. And the gold leaf is already starting to come up a little bit. On this one, you can see the pattern emerges a bit quicker because there's not as much adhesive down. Doesn't look like there was a whole lot of adhesive at the top, which is okay. Got a lot of gold flakes swirling around, and I usually just put those in a bowl that I have off to the side. And instead of gold leaf, you now have a bowl full of gold flakes. Look how pretty this is turning out. I really like this. I'm kind of wishing I had put adhesive on the raised parts in between the leaves or the flowers, whatever those images are. And I do go back and do that, and I'll show you at the end. Now I'm just taking the more firm brush and brushing over the leaves. I was hoping that I could get in between the little leaves like the stencils show, but even though I put a lot less adhesive on this, it still oozed and it was a lot more than you think. So whatever you think, you need to put maybe a quarter of on there. I don't know what the perfect recipe is. It just seems like I need to do a lot less. You can see the pattern in there. It's just not broken in between. I'm still just wiping away to get it cleared off as good as I can. Still very beautiful. And there's the gray, and it's finished. I did take a paintbrush and go back in the dolphin gray and go around the edges of the pattern so that if there was any gold leaf that had come over the pattern, then you really couldn't see it. So it sharpened it up a lot. I'm just kind of showing you there how nice it looks after I do that. Turned out really pretty. So I'm trying to think what I can do with these. I could obviously do journal covers. I could put them on some boxes, a decorative box as the lid. I could use it for collage. Or if you have any ideas, let me know. Wouldn't that look pretty as a journal page? I think that's so pretty. I love that color. That robin's egg blue is so gorgeous. And with that gold pop on there, it's really just really pretty. I have no idea what I'm telling you there. So I'm really pleased with how these both turned out. I would love it if you give it a go and let me know if you do. Just tag me on Instagram at a dreamy bohemian a dreamy bohemian. And so I do have the option of varnishing these as well. The kit does come with two brushes, one for the varnish and one for the adhesive. They come with the gloves, and I think the varnish would just look really pretty for the finished product. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope that you will go and try it. And like I said, just let me know if you did. You can reach my Facebook page, which is Dreamy Bohemian as well. I put all those links in the description box if you want to tag me on Instagram as well. And here is the one that I experimented with earlier. And I did smaller stencils. Those are Tim Holtz stencils that I did. That one has texture paste on it. And I thought about doing a journal cover. And then that page, I didn't use the texture paste. I just used the stencil and the adhesive. And I thought they turned out really pretty as well. So I did the front and the back thinking that I would do one for the front of the journal and one for the back. And I'm just showing you the paint colors there, the dolphin gray and then the robin's egg blue. And that's just a cheap craft paint, but I love that color. And it's the Ranger texture paste. And like I said, I'll put everything in the links down below so that you can find all the things that you need for this project. If you like this video, please click like, and I hope you'll subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. if you want to see future videos. Here's where I went back and added the raised places that I didn't initially put the adhesive on, and I really, really like how this turned out. Just going to do a little close up here for you. See how much of a difference that makes? Isn't that beautiful? I know it's so hard to see on the camera, but it does look beautiful. Very beautiful. You can do so much with these. Like I said, if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. As always, I hope I inspired you to go out and try something new. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.